Right. Well, we can go ahead and get started, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for the resumption, or I don't know what we call the second coming of Moving to Mexico Monday. I didn't even look, but I think I've missed 4 weeks in a row, and I really apologize for that. Our intention was to keep it going straight through high season, which is kind of technically over now, but because I missed so many, I wanted to pick up a few more. And also, I don't know that we have to limit it to high season. We may just keep doing these maybe at least once or twice a month throughout the year. I think they're really helpful. And the reason we did high season before was because it was when people were here. Now we're all online. So let me know if you think it would be helpful going forward. But I guess I should back up for the people who may be joining us for the first time or will be joining us on YouTube. I'm Kim Temple with Runaway Realty in Puerto Morelos, Mexico, which is just south of Cancun, and in my opinion, the best beach town in Mexico, maybe the whole world. And got my husband and partner, Gabriel, is not able to join us tonight. He injured his back, and so he's going to be flat out at a while, unfortunately. I think this is Sonia. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for your patience and waiting on us to get back to the Moving to Mexico Monday. Because I didn't really have time to prepare a big topic, I thought I would just kind of talk about what's happening in Puerto Morelos right now. And oh, there's Janine. And hi, Sonia. You're on mute. Just kind of give you an update on what's happening as we're kind of closing out what would be our traditional high season, talk a little bit about the market, and then just open it up to answer whatever questions you guys may have about anything about living in Puerto Morelos, moving to Puerto Morelos. I asked wingman extraordinaire, well-being woman, Caroline Gallegos, to join us. If you've been on any of the other meetings, Caroline's joined us a few times. She also has lived in Puerto Morelos about 10 years and has, she worked full-time until very recently. She just retired this last fall. So she has a unique perspective of that, and also owns a property in the port side and in the Colonia. And so she's a good person to answer questions about those. Oh, and they've driven many times, which a lot of people have questions about, driving from the US to Puerto Morelos. And then Keith is joining us again. Keith and Bruce just moved to Puerto Morelos full-time in what, August? No, when did you guys, no, when? July. Yeah. And so they're kind of coming up on their 1-year anniversary and have purchased a home, and they're remodeling it. So they have a fresh perspective on what it's like to move to Puerto Morelos, and during a pandemic, in case that ever comes up again. Hopefully it won't.
Let's hope not.
Hopefully no one else has to go through that. But I always appreciate having other people join us for their experiences and point of view, because I can only tell you mine, and everyone has a different way that they got here. And so I think it's useful to learn from as many people as you can and get your questions answered. So yay. In general, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Puerto Morelos. We are on a stoplight system for COVID, and right now we're still on the yellow light, which is basically like the first level of precautions, which means that we still have a mask requirement. We're still required to social distance. The businesses and restaurants still have limitations on their capacity, although they've lessened quite a bit. Now I think they're up to 60%. But you know, we still really encourage, if you're going to visit Puerto Morelos, that you be very careful. Please comply with the mask requirements, especially for these poor small businesses who can lose their license and be put out of business if they allow you to violate the rules. A lot of people don't like the rules. I mean, I guess right now, if you, is it still in place that you have to have food? I think it is. You can't just go buy a drink at a bar. You have to also have like a real meal. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it doesn't matter what we think of it. That's the rule. And if if a restaurant is caught serving you without the proper amount of food, they can be fined a big hefty fine, and they can lose their license. So I know you don't want to cause more pain to a local business that's already had probably the worst year of their existence. I know I don't, so we're just going to comply with the rules even if we don't like them.
Yep.
And so right now we've had quite a bit of tourism actually from probably mostly Americans. Had a kind of a busy high season, nothing like a normal high season, but it wasn't dead like what we saw during the lockdown. So that was interesting, but also, raises worry about risk. So just if you're planning to travel to Puerto Morelos, keep in mind that we are still in a pandemic and people here don't have the same access to healthcare. Oftentimes all, families are living together with many generations. So really just be careful if you can. As for Mexico's response to the COVID crisis, they haven't been rated very high, unfortunately. There were some rankings where Mexico was like at the bottom of the way they've handled it. Puerto Morelos hasn't been hit as hard as many other cities, so that's nice. But in general, the hospitals are not super well equipped to handle all this, so we would really like to keep the numbers down. They are rolling out the vaccine program. They are in our area, they're on just this week offering the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine to folks. It's either 60 or 65 and up, maybe.
It's 60 and up.
Okay. Who received the first dose about a month ago. So that's just rolling out this week. We anticipate that once that's done, they'll go to the next, hopefully 50 to 60, and offer those doses. But from what I understand, AstraZeneca is the only vaccine being offered. I don't know if you guys have any other information on that.
Nope, that's what I understand as well.
Okay.
Kim, there's several that Mexico's purchased from other countries. AstraZeneca is the only thing we've had in this area so far, but Mexico's also using Sinovac out of China, the Sputnik out of Russia, I think one of the Indian ones, and I believe they also are getting the Moderna and the Pfizer out of the US.
Oh, okay.
So the Pfizer, I think, and the Moderna, Bruce, are only going to healthcare workers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they gave those specifically to healthcare workers is what I've read. I mean, it's hard to know. I think the really awesome takeaway, though, is that we as expats and permanent residents here are all included. In fact, Bruce, didn't you get yours, or Keith got his? Somebody got theirs in Leona Vicario.
Bruce is getting his second.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We're interchangeable.
That's what happens
Bruce
when
is
you're
getting
together
his
so long.
Today. Okay. Yeah. So I think that's really cool. People, I mean, I don't go to the health system here. I have a lot of health issues. I go to the US, I have a provider and all that kind of stuff. But here, for something like this, that affects everyone that's actually has their feet on the ground, everyone's included, and they've made it quite easy for us to get information. We're all carpooling and that kind of thing to go get them wherever they're located and giving shots. But it's kind of nice that you feel really included, even though you're not, a native.
Yeah, I do think that's awesome. You do have to show, I think you have to show proof of address, no? That you're within the municipality that they're serving.
Yeah.
But that's
an age.
That's it. An age, yeah. Yeah, so all that's rolling out pretty well. People are kind of grumbling, but all in all, it could be worse. And so that's it. We're at the tail end of what would be a normal high season. I thought, and I think many Canadians believe, that their travel ban would be up on the 30th of April. I think that's just been extended to the end of May. So I expect we're going to have another big surge as soon as the Canadians can come, based on the calls that I get every day. But who knows? So I think this may just be the weirdest year ever. in terms of our real estate market, it's been insane, which I'm sure I've said this before in other Moving to Mexico Mondays. We just didn't see it coming. And so the sales are kind of off the charts, and certainly in a lot of areas, there's very little inventory. We don't usually have a lot anyway, and now it's been depleted. So we're hoping to see some new listings come on the market. That part's been a little slow because people typically want to be here and work on their house a little bit before it gets on the market, and many people can't be here. So yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting market from every price point, from $40,000 lots to $2 million houses. Things are really moving in Puerto Morelos and in the Riviera Maya as a whole. So the whole area is seeing this kind of surge. Your guess is as good as mine as to why. I think part of it is, a lot of people are reaching retirement age, and many people decided to take earlier retirement after or during COVID. Yeah, Caroline was one. We're seeing that leading edge of the boomers who are maybe realizing they didn't save enough to retire there, or they want to get out of the cold. So it's kind of changed the type of people that we see. Well, for one thing, what's changed is I used to only work with people who ever were buying a winter home or a vacation home. And now we're at least 80% of who I'm seeing are buying, they're moving. They're selling everything and moving here full time. And so that's really interesting. And also we're seeing all different age ranges. So it used to be, primarily 60 and up. And now, tons of people in their 50s who are still working, 40s, even younger families are moving with little kids. So that's a nice energy that we're getting in Puerto Morelos, and it keeps things exciting and alive. And it's really cool. I like it a lot. But anyway, so things remain pretty busy. And I think when the Canadians are released, it will be even busier. And that's about all I have about Puerto Morelos. Anything else, Caroline and Keith, that you want to add about the state of our town?
About the vaccines, you were saying the next you thought was the 50 to 59. What I read recently was the next group is going to be the teachers, because they're trying to get the kids to go.
That makes sense.
So that's a good thing. If the kids can get back to school and see their friends again and that sort of stuff. So.
And so they're going to go back to physical school? Is that what you're hearing?
I believe that's the plan. They're trying to get all the educators vaccinated in the next month or so. And then in August, when I guess they would normally go back after the summer break, the schools will be open again. I think that's the plan anyway.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. So maybe that explains why I'm hearing a lot of people saying that they're flying back to either the US or Canada if they can, and getting vaccines and coming back here. Maybe they don't want to wait another 2 months. I don't know. I've been hearing more and more people say they're flying to Houston or.
I actually Googled it last night because I'm thinking about doing the same thing. And I don't want to get into too many details, but if AstraZeneca is a vaccine that's going to be offered in our area, there's the clotting issue with it, which I don't think is a big deal for most people. But I have a clotting disorder already, so I don't want to add fuel to that fire. So I looked into it, and it's Pennsylvania, Texas, Arizona, and Florida are the 4 states in the US right now that are vaccinating anyone, whether they're a resident of the state or not.
Well, then that just changed, because I was just in Florida and they would not let me get my vaccine.
Really?
Yes, because
I'm not a resident of Texas, and I got my first shot in Texas. So I think there's a lot of that weird information, but my daughter is flying back in 2 weeks to the US to get her shot. Now that all the states are open up to 16 and above. So she's flying back in a couple of weeks to go get her.
I think I will be too, probably.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. We got ours in February and March in the US.
I can do some more research in Florida, but I don't believe that's true either. I believe they are checking identification and you have to be a resident.
Oh, okay.
But if that's changed, I'll let you know, because I'm actually going next week to get my second vaccine. So I'll ask there again. But when I checked just the week before last, they said you have to show a Florida ID.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what they told me. And honestly, I probably could have tried a little harder, but my sister is ill and I didn't want to spend days and days trying to stand in line for a vaccine. So because another friend was like, no, he said we registered and then we did a drive, you just drove up and nobody asked us for anything. So that could have happened. I didn't push it that far. When they told me that I couldn't register and I was turned away at one place, I was like, forget it. I'll figure it out.
Is this something you guys are all doing right now? I assume it is. We're all talking about the vaccine. We're here in Mexico. Is this you guys out there in the US and Canada? Is it what you're doing too? You're talking to all your friends about it and get yourself organized?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're all trying to figure out when our time is to get in line, so to speak, and making sure we're, registered and ready to go.
That's cool.
Yeah, and here in Los Angeles, I've already had both of my shots, and Julie has had one. She gets a second one on Friday.
Oh, nice.
It's freeing. It really is. I mean, it's more emotional, I think, than anything else, Yeah. Right, Dan?
Absolutely. And we got them all at Dodger Stadium, which is the biggest vaccination site on earth.
Wow.
They're vaccinating 20,000 people a day.
Oh my God.
In the parking lot of Dodger Stadium.
All of Canada.
Yeah.
That's a home run.
What is up in Canada? You guys usually have such better things than us, and
yes,
behind on the vaccine.
Oh, they dropped the ball. That's what happened in Canada.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, and you have to suffer with all these requirements. Like, it's not like they're doing it right and they're making you stay in. They're doing it wrong and they're making you stay in.
Oh yeah, we are locked in. We're not going anywhere. No, they're talking about doing inter-provincial travel bans now. So actually,
oh wow,
they're in place. They're actually in place
in a few places.
A few of the provinces. Yes.
So there's some crafty Canadians here who are now heading back. Now that things have been extended, they're like, we want to be back for the summer. So they're flying to Minnesota and like Idaho, and driving and then getting across the border that way to get out of the hotel stay.
Yes. Yes. I've heard of that actually. Some other people we know have done that. So
yeah,
they may or may not get lucky doing that.
Who knows?
Yeah, I wondered about that, if that was risky, but
they might have Dudley Do-Right on the border riding around looking for you.
Well, we've heard all kinds of stories, so who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, that's about all I have, you guys, about Puerto Morelos, but I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have about moving and living and all that good stuff.
Somebody in the comments asked about the visa tax, and if you could talk about that.
About, why don't I see the comments? Hold on.
Visa tax.
Oh, I can't talk about that because I don't know anything about it. So I've read about the same thing you guys have probably all read. And,
I just heard two people that, because I've been asking, because we're coming in May, and they just left Mexico. They didn't get it. Nobody asked for it when they left the airport. Now we're going to try. It's we want to do it. It's helpful, right? It's a good tax. But if it's not easy for us to get online and do it while we're there, and we can't figure it out, but they're saying nobody even checked to see if it's something they paid. So.
But do you pay when you come in or when you go out? That's my question.
That's all I've heard people say, that when they got there, they went online and they paid. That's all I know. And some people thought maybe the airlines covered it. So I'm going to ask JetBlue, that's who we're flying with, but it sounds like you go there, you log into the website and you pay it for the time that once you enter Mexico. But then you're supposed to prove you paid it before you left, but nobody's asking. And who would ask?
It's just $11, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just the headache. Like, I don't mind paying it. Just have the airline do it. It's just another thing that I have to
It's new. It's an exit tax. You know, it's kind of an old way to collect money from airports. I mean, I remember traveling the islands, you know, 30, 40 years ago, and you have to pay 20, 30 bucks before you leave, which was always a hassle because I spent myself down to nothing when I was getting on my planes. But it's just an exit tax, and I'm sure the airlines will absorb it soon. Not absorb it, they'll separate it. It'll be a separate fee. But it's just not in place yet, is what I'm sorry. 30 years in the travel industry, global travel manager. So that's why I'm just telling you, this is my feeling about the airline business. I think it won't be long, and it will be invisible and won't even be something we talk about.
Well, Mexico does things to the airlines like I know you were here for this, Caroline, because it happened right around my 50th birthday. Like one day in February, they just decided we're not doing daylight savings time. And so all the airlines that have sold all their tickets and planned all their flights, and like they just changed the time. So the time was different, and nobody had any heads up. And so it was a pure chaos at the airport. You know, I'm sure Mexico didn't warn the airlines, hey, there's going to be another taxi you need to collect. Like they just kind of dropped things like that.
Oh, it was the same with the COVID testing. The U.S. said you got to have a negative COVID test before you come back, before you re-enter the United States. There was nothing here in place, but within a few, you know, like days, Mexico had it all sorted out. We're giving you know, testing the airport and the hotels and everywhere now. They're testing. So it's funny. It happens like that a lot, though, Kim. You're right. It's really odd.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the airlines had no idea about it.
Me neither.
So that wasn't very satisfying. Sorry, Tim and Linda. We don't have a good answer.
No, that's okay. Everything we read about it is you pay the tax when you leave, and they have someplace in the airport where you pay it and then you show some kind of a QR code on your phone that it's been paid. Or you can pay it like Caroline said online.
Yeah.
And, you know, then you show that you had it paid. But, you know, so far it's, you know, everything you read is a little different. Kind of like a COVID coverage here in the United States. Every time someone talks about it, it's a different idea. But we'll save $22 before we leave.
Yeah.
All this change at this pace, man. It's just so hard for us to keep up with everything these days, isn't it? I just want to sit back in Puerto Morelos and relax and chill out. There's too much change going on, and it's at such a rapid pace. Can't keep up.
What else, guys?
Well, I just to that, since we're going to be there in May, it is a lot easier for us now to get the testing that we need. Yes, we can pretty much just walk into anywhere and get it. It sounds like.
Well, I'm not sure I would go that far, but you can. A lot of hotels are offering it. I would contact your own hotel to find out what they are doing.
Yeah, we're doing an Airbnb.
You can get it at the
Airbnb. So we're doing an Airbnb. So we'll have to find some place to go, a clinic or.
Well, the airport is also doing it. So we're only 25 minutes from the airport. So if you need to go 3 or 4 days in advance, you know, but you'd probably end up waiting in line there, I would think. It might be quicker at the clinics.
We were there in January, and we went to the live medical clinic in Colonia, and we were there right when that rule came into play.
Yeah.
But they were very efficient, and they had both the antigen tests and the more detailed stuff if you wanted to pay more.
And very fast results.
And fast results.
Yeah, I think there's a hotel port side that's doing it for anyone. You don't have to be staying there. I don't remember the name, but
Ojo de Agua.
Yeah, Ojo de Agua is the one we read about, that they have the test available there.
Yeah. And you guys, I did the airport, and it was super easy and fast. And it's way less expensive than any other of the tests that I've gotten. So if all else fails, go to I didn't have a choice because I decided to go at like 6 o'clock on Thursday and flew Friday morning. So I didn't have time to get tested anywhere here, but it was fine. I just went really early because I was nervous, but it was in Terminal 4. The clinic is down by immigration where you have to go anyway if you're a permanent resident visa holder or temporary resident visa holder. So I got in line, got my test. I think it was like 350 pesos. It was really pretty inexpensive. they had a bunch of, there were only 4 of us there, but they had like 10 people that were standing by to do the tests. And then you leave and they're going to email you the results. And I just went to the immigration office, which is right there at that end of the terminal. Because when you're a permanent resident or temporary resident visa holder, you have to go check out of immigration before you leave. So by the time I did that, came out, did the health questionnaire, which you got to do on your phone, which is kind of annoying. But by the time now that was done, I had my email results and I was all set. So I could just show my phone for the health questionnaire and the COVID test when I was checking in for my flight. So I was really surprised and I was nervous. I mean, maybe it may have been easier for me because, well, it was a Friday, which is kind of a busy travel day. But I was, I got there like 8 in the morning. So it wasn't crazy early. I mean, maybe on a Saturday, it might be a little busier, but I think most people do it before they get to the airport. So it's not.
Yeah.
Well, Kim, that health questionnaire, was that from the airlines you were traveling on?
No, it's at the airport. They have it, you have to fill it out before you can check in, and there's a QR code. So you scan it with your phone and it opens up a questionnaire, and it's from Mexico, the country of Mexico.
Okay, because we got something like that from Frontier Airlines as well, that we have to fill out for them and then download it to Frontier Airlines for some reason.
Oh, well, maybe they're trying to do it that way.
Yeah.
Is it branded with the country of Mexico on it?
Yes, it was, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, so they may have just done it that way, so you can do it ahead of time. Because it is kind of hard to do on your phone.
Yeah, I had that. I was able to, one time I was able to find it as a PDF that I could print out and fill out in English, because we tried to do it at the airport with the QR code and it just was not working for us. So luckily they had these forms at the airport, but for some reason they printed them out like really, really small. And it was in Spanish and I couldn't read anything. And luckily there was a gentleman there that helped us fill it out. So that was kind of funny, but I think I still have my old one and I might just like white out the date and put the new date and flight information in and just go with that.
So funny story, I did the one on my phone and then I checked in and the lady at JetBlue handed me that little sheet of paper to do it again. And I was like, but I just gave you this, but I did it because I'm like a rule follower and then no one ever asked for it. But it was the exact same information, but in teeny tiny writing. So I don't know, it was kind of silly. I just think nobody's really clear on what the rules are.
Right.
So.
You remind me of that healthcare form. I forgot about that. Damn it.
Yeah, we took a photo on our phone of that form so we could make it big and then we can read what it said.
Read it.
Well, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
There were these drunk college kids behind me and at security trying to fill out the form, and I was just, I should have helped them, but they were just real obnoxious. So I was like, to help them fill that out. Like, it has every country but the USA. Well, they put the USA at top, so it's not. I mean, he was scrolling down to the U's, right?
Oh, in alphabetical
like
order.
United States and Mexico at the very top because that's where most people are from.
Are they on the way?
Yeah.
Oh, they're still parked.
What else, guys?
That's us. That's that. You know, we're coming. We're going to come in July, and we're probably stay 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks. Does that seem a good time? And I know your focus is on sales. Actually, through you, we met Jess Jimenez, and the other times that we've been there, she's shown us around. But we're looking to find a long-term rental to begin in October while we're there in July, and find it and put a deposit on it, and then come back in October for a 6-month rental, and then extend from there or buy beyond that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. In a normal year, I would tell you you're really late to find if you're looking for a rental over high season. That's my worry for you. If you haven't, I mean, most things book a year in advance. So, but I don't know where you're looking or, you know, what your price point is. So, and also this year, I'm sure there were lots of cancellations. So maybe it would be easier to find one. But typically when you're going to try to book over high season, you want to start to book it at least a year in advance.
Oh, good.
Because they make more money on the shorter rentals. And so they'll start to take them, and then you won't be able to get a block.
Oh.
Because February is the busiest month. And January, December for Christmas and New Year's, they can charge extra for those weeks. And so it can be a little tricky to try to piece together the high season.
Yeah, and we're thinking that we'll stay in La Colonia. We like, I mean, obviously we like the beachside, but we like Pescadores and Punta Arena as well.
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
Anywhere.
This is good for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Has she already pulled together some options for you?
We've been talking and we've been looking at some things. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, I think this year there's probably more opportunities.
Oh, then we're lucky.
Yeah, which is good.
It was beautiful when we were there in January. I felt bad that it was slower than normal, but I also felt very grateful.
Yeah, we stayed. Trish and Diego from my Trish advisor. So we stayed at the upstairs.
Oh, nice.
For all of January.
The way thing, we settled on the house.
Loved it.
So what you experienced this January is usually what we have kind of this time of year, where we're all like taking a deep breath.
Right.
The craziness of the high season is over, but there's still people here. The weather's still fantastic. And it's like, oh, this is heaven. I really love, I mean, high season's fun because your friends are all here that only come, maybe once or twice a year during those months. And that's fun, but it's like, you can breathe at April, May. And even, I don't know if you've been here before in October, November, those are fabulous times to be here as well. So many people get locked into only wanting the high season, which is, it is amazing. I'm not gonna lie. But also these other months those shoulder months are really nice too. I think I think it gets pretty hot by June, July.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then rainier in August, September. Hurricane-ish in October sometime.
We wanted to be there when it's hot and humid, so that we just experience that, and then we want to be able to plan it out. We could even do a year rental, but we're thinking that we'll probably be looking to buy something by the time 6 months or a year roll around anyway.
Yeah, it's good. Some people are always like, how do you survive the summer? I'm like, just like anywhere else. Like, I'm sure, just like I survived the winter in Colorado, you dress for the weather, you manage your temperature, and you just get through it. It's
and you drink a lot of wine and you complain to your friends. Come on. We
and
all do the same thing.
And every year we say, is this the hottest summer? This is the hottest summer, isn't
it?
So hot. We've ever had.
Hottest summer ever.
I don't like the high season for the traffic. I am on the beach side, and that's what makes me crazy. And I'm on a beach access road.
Oh.
So my husband and I have taken to we've stolen a couple of construction cones, like really heavy duty ones, and we have them out in front of our house. And then we bought a handicap flag, and we're flying the handicap flag out there. And he's afraid every handicap person in the city is going to, in the area is going to park in there. But, we're just trying anything we can do to keep a parking place open in front of our home.
Wow.
So that's something to consider.
That's a good idea.
You need a driveway.
Our plan is to be carless, is to just not do it and just use the collectivo and the taxis to get around.
We'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts.
It's a good plan. I was here a year without a car, and obviously, I couldn't really do it with real estate. That wasn't realistic, but it was, otherwise it would have been fine, I learned to ride the bus. I can get around. It was a good way to see things and feel comfortable here. Now I know I can do it.
Nice question.
Go ahead.
No, so I was talking to Paul. Sorry.
Oh. Okay.
Sarah brought up a good question here. When you're doing the long-term rent, are you just paying first and last month, or are you paying, all of it up front? Are they looking for references, that sort of thing?
We never asked.
I cannot answer that question because we don't.
Me neither.
But Keith,
I can.
Keith can. Pick Keith.
Yeah, when we moved down here last summer, we arranged for our rental before we came down, and it was just a matter of paying the 1 month's rent for a deposit and the first month's rent. And that was it. We did sign a lease with the landlord for 3 months. And then when we came down, we started looking for a house, and our house buying process was going a little longer than we anticipated. So we extended for another 3 months. And then we had the house, but then we were remodeling the house, and that's been a little bit of a process also. So we've just extended month to month. Our landlord's been fantastic. He doesn't live here in Puerto Morelos. He's in Nuevo Leon or somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but really nice. And we've just extended over the months with him, and that's been fine with him. So he's been really agreeable. I don't know, what other people's experiences are, but from looking at the rental listings, it looks like pretty much they're looking for a 1 month rent deposit and first month's rent.
That's what we've heard as well.
Yeah. And the credit scores from the U.S., and I'm assuming Canada has a similar system, they don't seem to carry over to Mexico. We found that out when we were opening bank accounts and trying to get a credit card. So you can have great credit at home, and when you come down here, you sort of, just start over. So I don't think the credit score is an issue at all. I have seen a few rental listings that did say something about references, but most of them that I've seen do not.
I actually heard yesterday, I was listening to someone, they talked about some sort of a position, like, I guess it's like a notario, but they call a guarantor, or somebody who basically becomes a reference for you to the landlord. That's a possibility as well.
So you buy a friend?
You buy a friend.
Yeah.
We actually, we just rented a long-term, we're doing it for a year while our house is being constructed. And they also wanted 1 month up front. We have a dog, and they wanted, actually, no, I don't think we had to pay that. Do we pay that half up front as well? So half a month, they wanted that up front, but we have to just pay them once we get down there. So like as soon as we arrive, we have to have that month's rent, and then so on. And it's all in cash, which is hard because we won't have our Mexican bank account. We're dealing in pesos. I don't want to go down, have to travel with all that money. But it's the way they want to do it. So everything's just in cash, and we pay them and all the utilities monthly, which is going to be kind of difficult at first, but I guess we'll get into the groove.
Right.
It's a cash world. This is a cash place.
And they did ask for references, although I doubt they called any of them. So.
And you'll know OXO very well.
Yes, that's right. And it's right around the corner from where we're staying. So that'll be easy. Just ride my bike over, pay a bill.
There are lots of options, OXO certainly, but a Mexican bank when you're ready to qualify and can do that. But we've used ATM for years and years and left our money in the United States. We also have bank accounts in Mexico with pesos, but we have for years using our U.S. bank account and getting pesos out of ATM machines.
Yeah,
very easy.
We have Charles Schwab, so we're able to do that. So that'll be great, but we haven't done it yet. So luckily we're coming down, just for a quick trip so we can give it a try, make sure it works. But they have a limit on how much you can take out daily. So we're like, well, we can't get right down there and take out the money that we're going to need for our first month's rent. So
no, you have to plan.
Yeah,
you have to plan.
I don't like traveling with cash, but I guess that we'll have to just do that. And they'll also, to Charles Schwab, if anyone uses them, if you have their checking, high yield checking, you can get a 1 day allowance at a higher ATM withdrawal. So again, that's nice, but it's, you know, we'll be there. We'll have to call while we're there and make sure it goes through and go to the ATM. And so, yeah, there's a lot to work through on that, but we'll figure it out.
One option that you might want to consider with your utilities, what we've done with our rental house was our landlord provided us with his login information for CFE, which is the electric company, and Agrocon for the water. So we've been able just to go on our computer and log in using his credentials and pay the bills online that way.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it was pretty easy.
So,
And once you get a Mexican bank account, you're actually, instead of using credit cards here, you can set up a vendor, if you will, if anybody is in business. You can set up a vendor within your in your bank account, and you can authorize money to go directly to their bank account without any fees.
Yes.
So, I mean, you'll have to check with your banks, but it's like so easy then for a repeating monthly payment. It's just so easy.
I've been very impressed with banking in Mexico compared
Honestly.
to the United States. The safeguards they have on their debit cards and credit cards, the way they have it set up, you could literally go out in the street and hand your debit card to somebody, and if they don't have your PIN, it's worthless to them. There's none of this. We have this crazy thing in the United States where you can go into a store and use your debit card as a credit card, and you don't have to have a PIN, and somebody can empty your bank account in an afternoon. And here in Mexico, it's locked down. The safeguards on banking here are very impressive to me.
wait a minute. I use my debit card all the time without putting my PIN in here.
How?
I do it everywhere I go with my debit card. I don't use my PIN.
App?
Do you have
My CI Banco card.
Yeah, my CI Banco, I use like a credit card as
They
well.
don't ask me for my PIN.
Oh, I'm BBVA, so maybe it's just my bank.
It could be your bank.
Yeah, everywhere we go with our BBVA debit and credit, there's a PIN associated with both of them. We can't even use the credit card in the store without a PIN.
Well, it's probably safer because I have CI Banco and I'm not convinced that's the best place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, BBVA is awesome.
Yeah, from all my research, I've heard that BBVA, which is Bancomer, yes?
Yes, yes.
That they are the safest when it comes, like you can do like a one-time credit card number for purchasing online. You use it one time, that's it, things like that. So that's the one we're gonna go with. I hope that's the right choice, but sounds good.
I would recommend them.
Yeah.
And it's super simple. What you're talking about with the one-time credit card thing, you have an app on your phone. You open your app and you have your physical credit card number or debit, either one, and your digital. So if you're like, I'm paying my utility bill online, I enter that digital debit card number. And then when it's time to enter the CCV, the little 3-digit number, you click a little thing that says view the CCV or CVV, whichever one it is. And it generates a random 3-digit code that's valid for 5 minutes. So you have 5 minutes to complete that payment online. And then after that, that code's no longer valid. And it's pretty.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. So I have a fun BBVA story. Well, it's not that, I mean, so I'm a really good procrastinator, and I've been needing to open a bank account, another bank account for like 4 years. And I had it set up in my mind that it was going to be so hard. It's a business account. And I had so much trouble opening when I first moved here at HSBC. There was no bank in Puerto Morelos. So you had to go to Cancun. And it was literally like 6 trips back and forth. And I was just like, I don't want to do this again. Keith recommended BBVA to me, gave me the guy's name. I made an appointment. What I put off for 4 years took me less than 2 hours. And I'm going back tomorrow. This will be my 3rd appointment, but only because he forgot to tell me to bring my laptop on the 2nd appointment, because he's going to set me up on the online banking himself instead of having me do it myself. But yeah, I'll have,
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, that's
yeah,
awesome.
It's going to be so much better. And I do feel better about it. And I'm going to move my personal account there, but don't wait 4 years. It wasn't that hard. Note to self.
Usually things we procrastinate on are, mostly all in our head, the problems.
Yeah, I had built it up to be this giant project and it just wasn't.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
You do have to have all your paperwork, but they gave you the list. They didn't ask for anything that wasn't on the list, which is a specialty here in Mexico, doing that, giving you a list. And then there's a sudden other thing they forgot to tell you about, but he didn't do that. So that was good.
So there's HSBC, there's Scotiabank, there's BBVA, CI Banco. There's, you know, lots of different banks here, though, depending on what you do. And even the Charles Schwab is something I'm doing now with my retirement. But it's, you know, I mean, there's lots of choices. We're enlightened in our finances here and how we manage them.
That's nice.
It is nice. It's a lot different than it was 10 years ago, though, as Kim pointed out. 10 years ago was very, very hard. And now it's seemed more normal, more of our experience.
I think the biggest bad thing about them for us anyway, is that they will not let us have an account until we have our card. So we're hoping we can get our card quickly. That would be nice. I don't know if anyone's heard how long it's taking. I think in Kiru, it's still taking several months to get a card. Has anyone heard about that?
Yeah, we have a friend who just went through it. She was here and then flew back to the States and got a consulate appointment and got approved for a visa. And she came back and she kind of kept me up to date. And I don't hold me to this, but I really want to say from the first time she went to immigration here after she got back to getting her card, I don't think it was more than a month.
Okay, that's better.
Maybe 6 weeks at the most. When we came last summer, we were told we would go to immigration and it would be 4 or 5 months before they called us back to do our fingerprints. And then it'd be 4 or 5 months after that before we got our card. So it was going to be between 9 and 10 months before we were able to get our cards. So things have improved, yes.
Oh, I was on the 4-year plan. Took me 4 years to get my residency card. They renewed us 1 year and then 2 years and then 1 year. I don't know what was the matter with us, but after 4 years, we finally got our permanent residency.
Well, that's the normal, that's the amount of time. But they tell you, oh yeah, you can get temporary for 3 years, which of course makes sense. You don't have to go back every year, but they never approve it. At least that was every year I applied for 3 years.
We couldn't get it.
Every year I paid for 3 years because I'm the dummy. And every year it was denied and they don't reimburse you the money. So.
Kim, were you working with an immigration specialist or doing it on your own? Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't do anything by myself here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, we did all of ours on our own.
It took me 4 years.
No, it took me 4 years. Yeah.
No, I'm hiring Millie. I'm not doing it myself. There's no way. Yeah. We're going to get help.
Well, because I had to do temporary. So I didn't qualify for permanent residency. I did temporary with the permission to work, and you have to hold that visa for 4 years. You can't, once you've started temporary, you have to hold it for 4 years. You can't go to permanent.
Somebody posted in one of the groups recently, I saw that they had gone back at the end of their first year and had gotten 3 year. Fingers crossed, because I would love it if it would happen for us, so we don't have to mess with it every year for the next 3 years. So
for sure,
maybe
that would be really nice.
You know, okay. I do have a question, Kim, because we bought the land. We're not going to be down full time until August. Is there anything that we need to do now? Obviously, we need to contact the neighborhood and make sure that we get started paying HOAs, but there shouldn't be anything that has to happen because there's no electric. It's not a house, it's just land. So we're pretty good until we get down there and then get everything set up. Yes, other than the HOA.
Yeah, there's nothing else. You're good.
Good.
How long are you staying this time?
We're only going to be down for 4 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to come down, get things settled. Hopefully we'll have our paperwork back by then, the closing documents. And then we'll go to the office and get set up with them so they can, and I don't know, hopefully we can, I hope we don't have to do month to month on the HOA fees. Hopefully we can just here's a year. You just get it paid.
They want you to pay upfront.
Perfect. I know everything's monthly. And I'm used to just putting everything auto pay. And I noticed that's not a thing in Mexico. There's no auto pay, just take it out of my accounts, correct? You pretty much have to still go in and pay everything.
Some people have
No, we do.
Their electric on auto pay. I don't know. Sometimes
the only one we pay in person is water anymore. All the rest of them, AguaCon, we pay in person.
So
but everybody else.
You can do electric on auto pay.
Yeah, we're paying our CFE bill online.
No, but is it automatic?
Yeah, but it may not be auto. He might have to go in every month and push it. But
someone asked me, like, what are you going to do now that you're like early retiring, and you know, how are you going to spend your days? I'm like, well, apparently I'm going to be going online paying bills because you have to do that once a month. So there was that. But no, like I said, you know, that's fine if we have to just go in and do that. Exactly. How horrible is that? So, yeah, I'll be paying my bills from the beach. So yeah,
sorry.
You know, I'll get used to that, but you know, it's just a little bit different than, you know, what I do here. So anything that I can just, you know, pay in advance, you know, it'd be.
Janine, a lot of things in your life are going to be a little bit different than what you
a lot
do.
of it. I hope a lot different, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I think your wish will come true.
Good.
I think a lot of people too here will, if you're not going to be here all the time, you just pay in advance. Like I have friends, when they leave for the summer, they just throw a bunch of money at CFE, which is the electric company. They throw a bunch of money at AguaCon and hope that, I mean, they've estimated what their bill will be in that, and they know that that will cover.
Oh, good.
So that's, you can do that. They'll let you do that. Yep. So it is kind of funny. I don't know if a lot of people know that OXXO is like the place to pay for everything.
Yes,
I was so shocked when I learned that, how many things you can do at OXXO.
It really chafes me to go to OXXO though, Kim, and I want to buy a soda, and I'm behind a guy who's paying 7 bills and putting minutes on his phone, adding.
That was going to be my next question. So there's no kiosk. You have to go up to the cashier and give them your account information, and that sounds strange.
No, they just scan the barcode on your bill. You're not giving them anything. Yeah. Take your bill. Okay. It can't be late, because if you go late, they're not going to process it at OXXO. But I don't suggest going on the last day, because everyone's trying to pay on the last day. Yeah.
Do they do credit cards mostly, or do you have to do cash? Like, how does that work?
I use my debit card. I think they'll take credit cards as well, or cash. Yeah. All of it.
I mean, again, just until we get our Mexican bank account set up, like, could we use our US credit cards? I think someone said, like, you can't do that with the electric. They won't take a US credit card.
Online on CFE, but at OXXO, I think they will take your US credit card.
Okay.
CFE is Mexican credit card.
You can also pay at Chedraui, and you can pay at Electra. What?
CFE will take a US Amex online.
Okay.
We use a US card for CFE online.
But not an Amex, just a regular, like a Visa or MasterCard? Or?
We are using a Visa.
Oh, that's nice.
And I have also my CFE debit card, like Kim. It's a very handy, you know, I mean, I use that for almost everything I do.
Well, but it's not, what it is not handy for is it doesn't work online.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I'm switching to BBVA. You can't charge anything online with your CI Banco debit card. It's ridiculous.
Debit. Yeah.
I've got a question real quick while we're talking about CFE. Caroline and Kim, do either of you guys use the CFE app on your phone?
I did when they allowed you to pay with PayPal, but now they won't take my card. So I can't use the app.
Because I tried to download it from the Google store, and there were so many different CFEs. I didn't know which one was the official one.
Oh.
I'd like to try to find out. It seems like it might make paying the bill easier. I don't know.
Yeah, you do that, because we'd be interested in that. Do it and let us know how it works.
I have to do the reason. Okay.
This is on your court. There you go. We'll look forward to a report out in triplicate next week.
There will be a full report, yes.
I do use the app to check on what my bill is going to be. I can, because I've loaded my account numbers in there, I can check that. I just had, because for a while they accepted PayPal, and then I could pay, but then because I have the CA Banco debit card, it would take that, and it won't take my US credit cards on there. but at least I could see what it was going to be. Because sometimes they just don't bring you the bill either. That's the other fun thing about CFE.
Yeah.
Speaking of buying things and paying for things, also
There's
that
a
Amazon.
baby.
There is a baby. There's a the Amazon Mexico now has been here maybe 4 years, something like that. And they've gotten really good. There's more products, and I find that there's a lot more relevant stuff for me there. At first it was, really ridiculous.
First it was really bad. And they could never find anyone in Puerto Morelos. But now they have drivers that know their way around Puerto Morelos. So it's kind of dangerous.
That's a problem.
I usually hang this on my gate.
Oh,
Right. Right
I
here.
hang it on my gate when
that's smart.
One more quick thing about the utility bills. If you're going to be staying for 6 months or whatever, always keep the latest copy of your utility bill because you need it for everything here. It's the way that we prove our proof of address. And if you're renting, it doesn't matter if it has your name on it or not. You still need to have it with your landlord's name on it, either the CFE or the water bill. It's a really important thing here.
Really good advice.
That is good.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good reminder. Keep the paper is the general rule in Mexico. Bruce, he's fully vaccinated.
Yay!
We can see it on your face.
Thank you.
Vaccination.
He looks relieved.
It was horrible. I can imagine.
They were in Leona Vicario today, and it rained buckets on those people that were standing outside
for a solid hour, so that one of the canopies collapsed.
Oh,
but worth it.
Oh,
Worth it.
yeah.
Worth it to get the vaccine.
Look at that handsome dog.
All right, guys, what else? What are we going to chat about? Natasha, you're very quiet.
Oh, somebody asked any regrets. Sarah, that's cute.
Cute. That's cute, Sarah.
That's cute, Sarah. Very cute. No, I haven't. I've been here 10 years. I still do own a home in New Mexico. And we go back and forth there to visit friends, and but I have it rented out, and we're here full time and have been for a long time. And I really don't have any regrets, frankly. I'm happy to be here. I've learned, I've built a really nice lifestyle for myself. So good that my daughter, 27 years old, with my granddaughter and son-in-law, they moved down here. And then my cousin and his wife have also moved down here. So no regrets. And I have a little family posse that's sort of following in these footsteps and really digging it as well.
That's awesome.
I'm jealous. I want that.
No regrets for me. We moved here 9 months ago, so we haven't been here, terribly long. But I've not been homesick. There are so many things that I like about Mexico that I never experienced in the United States. A lot of it has to do with community and how friendly people are here and how helpful they are. I'll give a quick example. Bruce and I went over to our new house that's being remodeled in Villas Dos the other night because we were waiting for a guy that was going to deliver some furniture. And while we were there, we haven't moved in the house yet. We were just in the house, and some of the neighbors came over, and one of them we had met before, but most of them not. And they said, we're having a little neighborhood meeting here this evening. And they said, you're welcome to come and join us if you want to. And we did. And we're both taking Spanish classes now, but our Spanish is not great. So we spoke what Spanish we could. Some of the people in the group spoke English for us. And then the other people, if they didn't know English, they spoke Spanish. Somebody who knew English interpreted for us so we could understand what was going on in the meeting. And it was just this spur of the moment, warm, welcoming experience for us. It was fantastic. And I posted about it on Facebook, and I said, we've not even moved into our house yet. And tonight we interacted with our neighbors more in one evening than we did back home in the United States over a period of 10 years. It really feels different here. And it's a very good experience, or it has been for us anyway.
Do you think part of that's small town, or do you think it's just the culture?
I think it's the culture, Kim. I don't think it has anything to do with the size of the town. And I'm going to be blunt. And if I upset people, I apologize. I just find Mexican people to be more welcoming and more friendly than people that live in the U.S. And people back home aren't mean. Our neighbors weren't mean, but we've gotten to the point in the U.S. where we just don't know our neighbors anymore.
Yeah.
And when you...
That's so true.
Yeah, and you can find help in the U.S. We had friends. If we needed help, we could contact this friend, and we knew that they would come and help us. And I find here in Mexico, if you need help, you just say, "Hey, I need help," and you have a whole bunch of people that are willing to come and help you, and it doesn't matter whether they know you or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So I was just curious because I found the same thing. And I thought, well, maybe part of it is that we are in a really small town, which is nice. And I think people are kind of more friendly in small towns, but I've been here 10 years and I don't second guess it at all. And I don't have any regrets, and I can take about 2 weeks in the US and I want to get out of there. But it's the same thing. I've made friends here that I know I will have for life. I have neighbors that I know in a community that I love and I feel accepted and involved in. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't know anyone. I mean, I'm sure there are people who move here who realize it's not for them, and that's okay. Not everywhere is for everybody, but I haven't had any clients or friends, because really they all have become friends, say to me, "I wish I hadn't done this," or "I wish I had waited longer," or, you know, most people are saying, "I wish I would have done this much earlier."
I think you have to have a roll with the punches attitude as well, because that's the way the town operates. That's the way a lot of things go, and everybody is super welcoming. But when we were there in January, like, I loved WhatsApp, so I had a relationship with Mangata and with Choza, and I said, like, "Hey, can you guys bring me some stuff?" "Yeah." "Are you at the same place?" "Yeah." And the guy was on the scooter. Yeah. Hey, and it was so chill to get anything done, and everybody was super nice. And within a month, we had all kinds of people that we felt were friends.
Yeah. I know some people say, "Well, we're going to move there, but we were worried that we're not going to make friends." And I say, it's the opposite problem. You're going to have too many friends. You need to figure out who your tribe is,
Yeah. Don't commit up front, it's kind of wallflower a little bit.
Yeah. No, I mean, people are very friendly. Everyone wants to help you, expat otherwise. I mean, it's not just the expats, but Mexicans as well.
Yes.
And they want you to feel comfortable. They want you to feel safe, and you're not alone.
We also found like we could get up in the morning and go out to the sand and walk down to town to have breakfast or whatever. And you could walk and not talk to anybody. You can have your kind of separate time when you want to. There's plenty of places.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anyone who's regretting.
Good.
Well, how about talk to me after I'm done?
People, I shouldn't say that.
Kim, we'll talk when I'm done with my remodel, and I don't know how yours is going, but when I'm done, then I'll let you know if I regret anything or not.
No, it's going to be awesome.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
So Natasha says, "What's one thing you would do differently when you moved?"
I'll go first. I wish I had learned more Spanish before we came down here. And we worked on it. Bruce and I both come career-wise from a language background, and there was a point in time where we thought we might retire in St. Martin, and I started studying French, and then we realized, you okay?
Sorry.
And then we realized that our pockets were not nearly deep enough for us to retire in St. And so we started looking at other places, and we settled on Puerto Morelos. I started studying Spanish, and we took 3 classes through the Latin American Association before we left Atlanta. But I just wish I'd had more time to study. And when you come down here, if you only know a little bit, you'll be fine. There's plenty of people to help out and plenty of people speak English, but I just think I want to experience more of the cultural life here, and language is such a big part of that. So
true.
Bruce says, hold on.
Any documents they need, have them apostilled before they come here.
Any document you think you're going to need. I had our marriage certificate apostilled before we left the United States. I never thought about doing our birth certificates, so I've had to do that from here, which, you know, is a lot of extra steps and FedExing. So important documents that you're bringing with you, if you're going to be living here permanently, have them apostilled before you leave your home country.
Can I ask about that? Because we started that process, our marriage license and our birth certificates, but someone said they really never had to use them. Did you have to? Do you have a reason why you needed that?
Sure. For starters, for our application process for our visas, we had to have our marriage certificate was part of our application process, just as far as the way our assets were arranged. So if you're going to give that document to any Mexican government entity, it has to be apostilled. That's my understanding. Don't hold me to that. You go to one office, it's one rule. You go to another office, it's another. So I can't say blanket rule, but we needed that apostilled marriage certificate when we were still in the United States. And since we've come down here, we are going to be signing up for the EAMS program, which is the nationalized healthcare program here in Mexico. And you definitely have to have apostilled birth certificates for your application process for that.
I think.
I think it's really best to have twice as much as you think you're going to need. And then if you don't need it, great, it's in your safe. But there are going to be things they're going to ask for that you won't have. So it's best to just do as much as you can before you come. I think that was really also great advice.
Government agencies here love paperwork.
Paper.
They love forms. I have a file folder that I keep in the house that has, I mean, a copy of the lease, a copy of the deed on the house, utility bills, copies of passports, copies of immigration cards, anything you think you need. I mean, if I had a copy of a chocolate cake recipe, I'd throw that in there too for good measure anytime I go to office, because they're going to ask for stuff for sure.
I have had, so I don't, because when I decided to come, it wasn't such a big decision. I mean, I didn't really decide. I was kind of here for a few years before I realized I'm actually moving here. Unlike many people who are deciding up front and like selling everything and moving. But I have had clients tell me, and I do think this is an important thing to think about, is that they wish they wouldn't have insisted on bringing so many things from home, because it is very expensive to move household items here. Even driving yourself can get expensive. So I think that it's really important to really decide for yourself, and everyone has to make their own decision, what can I really not live without? For me, I've found that it's really honestly nothing, because I didn't ever move a bunch of household good items here. We did have a house already, so that was a little bit different. But I mean, I brought some pictures and archived. I mean, I've kept most of my pictures now digitally. I really haven't brought much of anything that I thought I couldn't live without furniture-wise, and I'm paying to store it in Colorado still, so I need to get rid of that. But you know, that's an issue. Like, I think we hold on to our stuff, and it can really weigh us down, and you may not want it here. This is a very harsh environment for a lot of furniture. Certainly for your electronics and appliances. I had some clients, Jill and Craig, who some of you may know, they bought and they packed up everything from Park City, Utah, drove it to Miami, including new washers and dryers and refrigerators, because they got a great deal at Home Depot or something, and then put it on a container, brought it over. And I mean, all of that cost a fortune. And they were like, why did we do that? We can buy a refrigerator at Costco, you know, not have to pay to travel across the water. So I think just be, you know, you'd be surprised at what is not going to make you so sad to not But it's hard. It's emotional. It's our stuff.
It is hard, and you're paying for that storage. I still have a house with a mortgage in New Mexico is my storage area, but it's like the things on the walls, you know, that I've collected over a lifetime of travel, and you know, that stuff that's there is part of who I am, and letting it go and is really challenging. So for me, it's been a long time. And every time I go back to New Mexico, I get rid of a little bit more, or I'll sell something, or I bring it here. You know, that's what I do. But things like artwork and stuff like that, I mean, Kim's not kidding. The environment is so harsh that it's, you know, unless you have a really sealed in place, it's going to be really hard to keep some of your treasures in good shape in this environment. It's just really different, unless you live in a tropical place now. But it's hard, and that's unfortunate.
I've schlepped what I wanted in suitcases because I fly Southwest and I get the 2 free bags, and then I can check more also. So I didn't ever do a big move down. I mean, we did originally in 2001, but that was a different story, and it was a much safer drive back then. But yeah,
we've driven with a trailer, a whole trailer covered with stuff, lots of loads driving with the car filled up. But the trailer that was a big move of furniture and things like that. And I'm glad I have some of that stuff, but I didn't bring things that I could purchase here. I brought things that were unique for me and important to me, not things that I can get here, like appliances and stuff like that. I just get all that here. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't have any regrets for sure.
We should go.
Yes.
Anyone else?
I was just going to say, you were talking about Jill and Craig bringing the appliances. We had heard the same thing, that, you know, electronics are expensive here, but we were cutthroat when we left the US. We gave away or threw away everything. Just about. We came down with just some suitcases and the cat carrier. We really purged, and I really liked it. Just going through that process and really asking yourself, you know, how important is this to me? There were certainly a few things that I gave away, you know, that I made sure I gave to a friend that I knew would treasure it as much as I did. But, you know, so coming down here was with nothing other than what we could put on the airplane, and you know, now setting up house down here, the appliances here, people said expensive, but it's cheaper.
Cheap.
Back home. We went to Sam's in Playa. We got a couch. It's not a fancy couch. It's a couch from Sam's, but how much do you want to spend on a couch? I mean, like you guys are saying, the environment's harsh on things down here. We bought a couch, a fridge, an oven, a lavadora, like a washing machine, and 3 lamps. And I think it was like $2,000 US for all of that. We would have spent that much on the refrigerator probably.
No doubt.
So I think if you're coming down here and setting up house, you're going to be surprised not only at how much less expensive goods are here, but also services. If you're having a house remodeled or, you know, just spruced up, some tile installed or some paint done or anything like this, it is just a more affordable proposition here than it is in the United States. I can't speak for Canada. And the quality of the work that's done here is really, well, you can tell that the guys that do the work down here take a lot of pride in it.
Yep.
I just bought all new appliances because I'm doing a full gut of my kitchen, and I bought all new appliances, and I probably spent about $2,500 US, but everything except a dishwasher, because they don't last very long here. So I have one of those. I married him 30 years ago.
Oh, me too.
So I'm good to go. Good to go with the dishwasher.
That's my job.
Yeah, $2,500. And my sister is going out right now to buy a GE Profile side-by-side refrigerator, same model that I had. She would spend that on just the refrigerator. $2,500. She's in Virginia, in Washington, D.C. area. She said to me, if she was going to try to buy all the same appliances that I bought in her neck of the woods, it'd be somewhere near $8,000 for her to get them. And I paid $2,500. So appliances were great. It was just hard to find some of them that I wanted. Some of the features I wanted. I had to shop a lot.
One more quick example, not appliances, going to the pharmacy here. There's an ointment that I have to use sometimes for your skin that in the US for a 30-gram tube with a coupon cost me around $80. And I went to the pharmacy here in Mexico a few weeks ago and they have it. You don't need a prescription for it. You do in the US, you don't here. And I went in and I bought the same size tube and she said 40 pesos.
Yeah.
Which is like $2. $80 back home in Georgia, $2 here in Mexico. It's just, and there's lots of examples of stuff like that we've had in the last 9 months, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
May I just back to the appliance question, swing it back to appliances, because that's a task we'll have to take on soon. Would you not buy high-end appliances because they don't last long here? And to the dishwashing thing as well, I was like, should we even bother doing a dishwasher because is it going to last?
Well, I made the decision to not buy a dishwasher, but I do have a friend who does have a dishwasher. It's a lot of maintenance by adding salt to it, regularly every month. And it's, we went the route of not doing it because most people don't have them, and it's almost all bad news around here about the dishwashers lasting. Yeah. Right. So we just.
So I have a theory about that. So I think that people have bad luck partly because they're not here all the time. That's my theory. I think that if you get a water softener and you're running it because you live here and you're keeping it running, I think that it's not such a hassle.
Would you do?
Can you tell I want a dishwasher?
Would you do a whole house? Would you do a whole house water softener, Kim?
I don't think you have to. I think like our friends Lisa and Steve did a, what's it called? The light UV, whatever, UV filter. What's that called? Or the UV water softener thing. They did it right at the kitchen sink. Yeah. And so I think it's only in the kitchen. Yeah.
So
I'm doing filtered water. I'm doing filtered water at my sink, but I'm not doing a whole house water softener. I mean, I'll be able to drink tap water, if you will.
Well, I'm thinking more for keeping the appliances working, like a dishwasher, or, even I've heard too, like the faucets have to be replaced often because of the buildup. Is that something that would help with that? Do you think a water softener?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
But then I know you probably have to replace the water softener often, but you're replacing one piece of equipment versus multiple pieces of equipment, maybe.
Yeah, the Tekka dishwasher, because I looked at them. I wanted one, honestly, to the last minute, but the Tekka one has a place where you put salt in it, so you don't have to have a water softener in the house. The machine comes with the water softening capability. And then they sell you the big jugs of salt that it uses.
Caroline, Janine asked about buying high-end appliances. What brand is your appliance suite that you're putting in your kitchen?
It's not a suite. It's piecemeal, but I do have the GE Profile refrigerator. I bought an Impava oven, which is a really nice oven. And then I just bought a couple of Mabe pieces. So I got the Mabe parrilla, the cooktop, and the microwave oven. So Mabe is a local Mexican brand, and their appliances are just fine. Yeah. And they have all the same kind of bells and whistles as any of the GE products in the US that you're familiar with.
I wasn't really looking at brand when we were shopping. I think I was looking more just like the size of the refrigerator and the features I wanted. But the one thing that I was looking for with the fridge was that it was an inverter, which saves on your electric consumption. And I was just talking about how cheap the medicine is here. Everything's we found is super reasonable in Mexico, except for electricity, and you can get in trouble there if your consumption is high. You can get some really high bills. So your fridge, inverter, I think you can get an inverter microwave also. Jonathan was just telling me, and then your mini splits, you get inverters. Then they're going to use less electricity. It's going to save you money over the long run. So it might be worth it to spend a little bit more for inverter technology on the front end to save on the power bill on the back end.
And I will have to say that even the $2 million oceanfront houses that we're selling, they don't have super fancy appliances.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone spending a fortune on appliances.
I haven't seen any Viking or Jen Air or anything like that around here.
No.
Yeah, and we live near the coast in Florida, so we have to be careful with, again, salt water. You leave your windows open for, an hour and stuff starts to rust. So I just wanted to know if we should, we're not going to be close to the ocean in Puerto, but, we're still probably get enough salt air that I was just worried about spending too much on nicer appliances and then having them, on you in a couple of years.
Well, Janine, you guys are going to be in Punta Rena, yes?
Yes.
So you're right next to the marsh, and it's a salt marsh, is it not?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it gets a